you can't live your life based on like what other people are gonna think, how other people are gonna feel, because at the end of the day, it's you, it's your life. Right. So it's gonna make you happy.
Didn't Diddy's son date her?
Yes!
That cannot.
We were not prepared for what Lori Harvey said on the witness stand. Her words cut like glass, elegant, composed, but shaking the courtroom to its bones. For months, the rumors had bubbled beneath the surface, whispers of a hidden past with Diddy that no one dared to speak aloud. But now, there was no denying it. Lori stood before the court and described a nightmare that sounded almost identical to what Cassie had survived, except this time it was coming from someone even closer to the Harvey empire, someone raised under the pristine roof of Steve and Marjorie Harvey. Lori, America's Instagram darling, the fashion world's favorite poster girl, said she too had been forced to attend the infamous freak-off parties. She too had been coerced into being with other men, while Diddy, yes, that Diddy, watched silently, capturing everything on camera like a twisted director in his own horror film.
Well, the things that I experienced with him were monster-like. That stuff almost destroyed my life.
The courtroom fell into eerie stillness as she detailed the dark mechanics of her reality. The velvet ropes, the five-star hotel suites cloaked in shadows, the buzz of cameras, and above it all, Diddy's presence, calculated, voyeuristic, and disturbingly serene. According to Lori, it wasn't just about the acts themselves, it was about the power, the control, the psychological caging. She described how she felt emptied out, day by day, play by play, until there was nothing left but a shell dressed in designer clothes and paraded through red carpets. What started as glitzy dinner parties and casual flirtation had spiraled into something far more grotesque, where participation wasn't optional and refusal wasn't safe. But what stunned the courtroom more than anything Lori said about Diddy was what she revealed next. The betrayal didn't stop at the edge of his property. It had seeped straight into her own family. She claimed that her parents, Steve and Marjorie Harvey, not only knew but allegedly benefited. She didn't mince words. She hinted that her inclusion in these circles wasn't just tolerated, it was silently arranged, a barter in exchange for Diddy's support of her parents' business ambitions, Steve's expansive entertainment brand, Marjorie's fashion ventures and luxury lifestyle, all allegedly greased by favors and connections that came from keeping the mogul happy, even if that meant offering up their daughter like a pawn in a transactional game of industry access. The glamorous Harvey family facade shattered in real time, replaced by a far darker image, a young woman left to the wolves while the adults smiled for the camera.
How many people came through his orbit? How many people could this have happened to? And how did he get away with it for so long?
Lori's voice reportedly cracked only once when describing the moment she realized she was alone, the moment she confronted her parents and saw the fear, not for her but for their own reputations. From that point on, she cut them off entirely. No phone calls, no holidays, no more staged family brunches. According to insiders close to Lori, she now refers to her parents with words unrepeatable in court. She sees them as enablers, not protectors. And for all the motivational speeches Steve Harvey has given on fatherhood, on love, on how a man should treat a woman, it now reads like one long punchline. This isn't just tabloid fodder. It's a family collapse in real time with millions watching. A daughter allegedly thrown into the fire for a few sponsorships and VIP invites. A betrayal too dark to ignore, too chilling to forgive. And if Lori's story is even half true, then everything we thought we knew about the Harveys, about Diddy, was an illusion paid for in silence. The industry didn't just look away, it applauded.
They were referred to me as Wild King Nights. And what a Wild King Night was when him and a guest would go to a hotel room or be at his home, his bedroom, and they would have intimate gatherings. I would have to go and prep that hotel room, which consisted of baby oil Astroglide.
And Lori didn't stop there. In the same testimony, she dropped a coded but unmistakable reference to something prosecutors had been chasing since day one, Diddy's alleged blackmail vault. We've heard whispers for years, rumors that Diddy kept tapes, recordings, entire archives of the most powerful people in the business doing the most unspeakable things. But now, with Lori's statement, those whispers roared back to life. She spoke of knowing she was being filmed, not just once, but dozens of times, different cities, different people, and she wasn't alone. Lori implied that Cassie and others, many others, were also captured, archived, and potentially used as leverage. The existence of this vault isn't just speculative now, it's central to the prosecution's theory of control. Imagine what could be inside. Hollywood A-listers, network executives, sports stars, maybe even politicians, all caught in compromising moments, orchestrated under the guise of party culture. That's the sort of thing that doesn't just destroy careers, it topples empires. A former assistant once claimed that these tapes were kept encrypted, guarded like state secrets, and only ever shown when someone needed reminding of who held the real power. Could this be how Diddy stayed untouchable for so long? Was the reason people stayed silent not loyalty, but fear? One insider, reportedly a longtime event planner for Combs, has gone on record suggesting that several celebrities who now act like they barely knew him were once regular fixtures at his most exclusive, invite-only hotel retreats. If even a fraction of those encounters were recorded, willing or not, then Lori's testimony could be the fuse that blows open a vault holding Hollywood's dirtiest truths.
I thought he was this clean businessman who rise to the top because he was such a powerful and smart, educated man. I had no idea that he had this other side to him. And when I started to get exposed to his lifestyle, I started to really realize, like, this guy has an addiction. It's not just, once every few weeks, it's every day, every hour.
So we have to ask, what's in that vault? How many reputations are living on borrowed time? And what happens now that someone like Lori Harvey, once protected by name, fame, and luxury, has stepped forward and set the room on fire? Because this isn't just one story, it's a thread. And when that thread gets pulled hard enough, the whole suit unravels. And it's that thread we're watching unravel in real time. Because Lori Harvey's testimony isn't just an expose on one man's depravity, it's a keyhole into an entire system. What she described wasn't random, it wasn't wild behavior gone too far. It felt choreographed. A closed-door ritual passed down among the powerful. The so-called freak-offs weren't just self-indulgent escape. They were mechanisms designed to break boundaries, dissolve shame, and leave everyone too compromised to speak. According to a former bodyguard, who allegedly worked security at one of Diddy's international retreats, many of these events felt more like ceremonies than parties. Phones confiscated, guests hand-picked. A-list actors, Grammy winners, and studio executives reportedly mingled in dim rooms lit by low music and lower morals. And when the cameras came out, always under Diddy's watch, it was clear this wasn't just for pleasure. It was insurance.
It was like, wow, for Diddy? What? That was a person that I looked up to. He was a mogul, and I listened to all the artists that he made superstars. And so to have a chance to be able to be signed to him, it was amazing. It was like, oh my God, I'm here. I finally did it.
That's where Lori's allegations become even more disturbing. If her footage exists, if Cassie's footage exists, how many others are hidden on hard drives behind biometric locks? A former assistant told reporters that there was a room in the Miami mansion no one entered without a nod from Puff himself. They called it the vault. Not metaphorically, it was reportedly a literal walk-in safe, climate-controlled, motion-triggered, and always sealed shut. No staff, no cleaning crew, just Diddy and whoever he trusted enough to help him organize whatever it was he kept in there. Multiple sources close to the investigation now believe this is where the alleged blackmail archive is stored. If the footage ever sees the light of day, it could blow open scandals in sports, film, music, even politics. We're not just talking messy love triangles, we're talking career-ending secrets.
Of coming forward, they've been afraid of what he could potentially do to them within the industry, what he could do to them professionally, maybe even personally. And so yes, it's been a dark secret they've held on to for a very, very long time.
And that's why Lori's decision to speak has insiders panicking. Quietly, a few big names have begun distancing themselves from the mogul. One actor, who appeared in multiple bad boy-funded projects, allegedly pulled out of a recent documentary interview last minute, citing creative misalignment. Another major artist was recently caught deleting old Instagram posts where they praised Diddy as a mentor. It's not hard to connect the dots. The silence from the industry isn't just loyalty, it's fear of exposure. Meanwhile, Lori's world has turned into a war zone. On the outside, she still posts brand collaborations and curated vacation snaps. But those who've interacted with her recently describe a totally different person. Gone is the lighthearted socialite. In her place, someone sharper, angrier, guarded. Sources close to her inner circle say she's become militantly private. She's cut ties with longtime friends, refuses to attend events where media might be present, and has turned down multiple offers from mainstream outlets asking for interviews. One former stylist even hinted that Lori has been working on a personal memoir, not for profit, but for legal backup. A paper trail, in her words, just in case anything happened.
He cornered me. And then he asked me, with his arm up, he asked me, how you doing? I'm kind of like, wow, what the heck? Very uncomfortable. And then he rubbed his hand down my breast. He said, if you need anything at all, you let me know.
And then there's the family fracture. What was once hailed as Black Hollywood's royal household now looks like a dynasty in collapse. Steve and Marjorie have publicly tried to pretend all is well, posting their usual quotes about prayer and resilience, showing off matching designer fits at charity galas. But behind the curated smiles is a gaping silence. Lori hasn't appeared in any family photos in over a year. She no longer attends the lavish Harvey holidays, no acknowledgement of her recent statements, no support, no denial, just absence. But privately, whispers suggest this rupture runs deeper than just emotional wounds. 3 former employees tied to Steve's production company claim that in 2019, the company received a 7-figure consulting payment from a firm with direct ties to one of Diddy's holding groups. What was the consulting for? One ex-staffer bluntly put it. There was no consulting. It was a thank you. That same year, Marjorie's fashion brand launched a luxury line that appeared almost overnight, backed by a silent investor. And guess who showed up to the launch party? Diddy. Now, in light of Lori's claims, those connections feel far more sinister. Were her parents accepting favors while ignoring or enabling? What was happening behind closed doors?
I'm sorry, I'm just I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck during those years. You're still stuck 21 years later.
The idea that fame could outweigh a daughter's dignity is chilling, but in Hollywood, it's hardly new. What makes this so uniquely tragic is that Lori, who was raised under the Harvey brand of respect, excellence, and faith, allegedly found herself sacrificed at the altar of reputation. Not by strangers, by her own blood. A betrayal layered with velvet gloves and polished smiles. And now that she's speaking, that entire facade is cracking. We're watching it happen. Online, Steve's wholesome persona is under siege. Old clips from his talk show where he preaches about love, relationships, and fatherhood are now being reshared with captions like, "Was this man talking about himself?" And "How much did you know?" Marjorie, once hailed as a style icon, is facing similar heat. Social media users have started dissecting her old interviews, piecing together timelines, and demanding answers. And still, silence.
I'm so protective of her because I know what she up against.
The rot wasn't isolated to one man. If Diddy was orchestrating these alleged abuses in plain sight for years, the uncomfortable question becomes, who else saw it and said nothing? Multiple former insiders, from video directors to stylists, have hinted at an unspoken code in the entertainment world where powerful people protect each other to preserve mutual access. It's not just about covering up individual scandals, it's about shielding a system where favors, appearances, and silence are currency. If someone as high profile as Lori Harvey could be pulled into this machinery without immediate outrage, what does that say about those in the room? Not everyone who attended these exclusive gatherings was a victim. Some were participants. Others were accessories by omission. Entertainment lawyers, agents, and executives have long been the invisible architects behind celebrity empires. But in this case, they may also have been the silent engineers of damage control. Several sources close to the investigation claim there were early warning signs flagged by assistants and PR teams as far back as the mid-2010s, when rumors about Diddy's private parties began circulating among industry circles. Allegedly, settlement offers were quietly floated, NDAs pushed aggressively, and careers steered away from confrontation. At least 2 rising actresses reportedly dropped projects linked to Diddy after being warned that his lifestyle isn't for everyone. And yet, no one blew the whistle. Not the publicists, not the studios, not the brands.
It's like haters. When you get haters, you know, people's opinion of you is none of your business. I have lots of haters.
That silence has a price. Hollywood has celebrated redemption arcs for men accused of much less, while victims are often quietly removed from the spotlight, rebranded, or discarded altogether. The machinery is well-oiled. When a scandal erupts, the narrative gets spun, the accused retreats to a luxury rehab or spiritual sabbatical, and in time, the comeback tour begins. But Lori's testimony doesn't allow for that comfortable cycle. Her story isn't tabloid scandal, it's systemic rot. And now that she's named names and broken ranks, every major player who once stood shoulder to shoulder with Diddy is being re-examined under a harsher light. The question isn't just what did Diddy do, it's who helped him keep it quiet. Some names have already started to surface in court documents, cryptic text exchanges, and leaked party rosters. Former collaborators, chart-topping artists, and even award-winning producers are being scrutinized for their proximity and their silence. One particularly damning pattern involves a group of top-tier music executives who continue to funnel support and resources into Diddy's ventures even after private settlements and legal disputes began piling up. A few have since stepped down or gone radio silent. Others remain defiant, insisting they had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. But the pattern is clear. If Hollywood's elite didn't participate directly, they sure didn't intervene.
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
Which brings us back to Lori. Her decision to speak out against one of the most powerful names in music, against her own family's legacy, and against an industry built on denial, may be the very thing that shatters the cycle. This moment isn't just about what happens to Diddy. It's about whether Hollywood can finally confront the culture that enabled him. Because if the same names keep getting protected and the same silences keep getting bought, then nothing changes. Will Lori's bravery finally force the doors open? Or will the system do what it's always done? Smile, pivot, and pretend the darkness never touched its spotlight. But if Lori's story has proven anything, it's that silence doesn't protect anyone anymore. If the vault is real and her words are just the beginning, then this trial is merely the first tremor. And the real earthquake? Still loading. Because how many more Lori Harveys are out there? How many stars we've idolized were pressured, silenced, or filmed without consent? How many friendships, careers, and empires were forged on blackmail and hush money? Hollywood has always been a game of illusions, but now we're starting to see the strings.
So I just keep going through. But then I'll tell you something too, haters motivate me. Because when they talking about me, that means I'm doing something.
And here's the kicker. Sources inside the investigation suggest that federal prosecutors are reviewing Lori's testimony for potential leads, not just against Diddy, but against others, big names, untouchables, people with legacy status. If charges follow and if the vault is subpoenaed, this could go nuclear. We're not just talking about lawsuits, we're talking criminal conspiracy, cross-state coordination, and decades of cover-up. One former producer close to the case told us, this isn't just another scandal. This could be Hollywood's final reckoning. So now we leave you with this. If Lori Harvey's story is just the beginning, how deep does this rabbit hole really go? Let us know in the comments. Who do you think knew? Who's next to speak? And what secrets are still locked behind that vault door? Until next time, stay curious and stay watching.